right, episode 88 of the BIC podcast. On this episode, everything is going to center around the theme of the card show that I was at earlier today, the day we're recording. So this will drop on a Tuesday, but on Monday, holiday Monday in Canada, because we make up holidays. It's a Honda Civic Day. It's very exciting. It's a Honda Civic Day. It was a civic holiday. So now we were able to enjoy that in Ontario. And I went to a card show and I spent some time with a Burrell, Eric's favorite person, Josh, and others. We'll talk about that and more on this episode of the BIC podcast. So like I said, on this episode, a lot of it is going to center around this card show experience. So I'll kind of give the lay of the land. We'll talk about some silly or fun cards for the week. The card that I have is also going to play into the story, so we'll be able to incorporate that. And then I'll also talk, as I talk through it, though, it's going to hit on some themes we've talked about here and on the live stream. So it'll all make sense. I'm actually going to be able to give it to you. But let me give you a little bit of the lay of the land first. So I see this thing, and I heard about it as a Collecticon in Hamilton. Now, for folks that need some help, and actually I explained this analogy to Bobby, and as soon as I explained to him, he thought about it for him and goes, yeah, that works. So Hamilton is Canadian Pittsburgh. The way we know this, it is because that was formerly a steel town. That was their main industry. That was before it went under, basically. And now it is shambles, much shambles, many shambles. So, and the color scheme of all their teams, like the Hamilton Tiger Cats, go look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, go look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The color scheme's the same. Like I said, Canadian Pittsburgh. So that's the quickest and simplest way for you to be able to imagine it. Canadian Pittsburgh, that's basically what we're talking about. So unfortunately, it's fallen on hard times and it has not been resolved. So what I decided to do is, since this particular show, so they do the show usually about once a month, but if there is a long weekend somewhere in the month, they'll schedule it for the Monday of the long weekend. So this particular one, Civic Holiday, we get about one of those every couple of months, usually almost one a month now. But because they got a long weekend, they put it on the Monday. So since we're around, we can do that. And it actually was well attended. All things considered, actually, the turnout was pretty good. But the show only goes from 9:30 a.m. till about 2 p.m., 2:30. So it ends in the early afternoon. But to take advantage of this show, realistically, you got to just show up early and then take care of it. And since I don't do mornings, the only way this is going to happen is if I went there the day before. I set myself up. I got myself a booking in a local hotel, and I got to enjoy the ambiance. It was wonderful. It was splendid. And let me tell you, on a holiday, there's no one there. You basically go to the bar and you get served immediately. You get to set the TV to whatever you want to watch. And I actually watched more baseball yesterday than I've watched probably in a long time. I watched Sunday Night Baseball. It was great. I watched the game at the bar. I was able to get a bite to eat, get a drink. It was fantastic. And then when it was all said and done,
what baseball? What?
Eric, I know you're very excited. Listen, calm down, Eric. We're not talking about the 86 Red Sox. We can't just talk about the 86 Red Sox like we do in pre-show. That's all Eric wants to talk about. He won't shut up about it. Just will not shut up about Bill Buckner, his favorite. Anyway, so I do that. And when we go in on Monday, we're all good to go. We head over. So, and then that's where we meet up with Josh. We hang out and we check out a lot of it. You pretty much have to, though, in order for it to work out, you got to go early on this one because, and this is where I say there is potential there. Good foot traffic. Tables are actually inexpensive, which isn't bad. So dealers that had stuff priced to sell were going to do well. Dealers that actually brought things that you might actually want to buy, because this is a collectible show. It's not a card show, but there were plenty of dealers that had cards. But then there were some who basically showed up, and anything that was remotely vintage was basically like $100 by default. And I'm like, that isn't how this works, sir. Just because it's vintage doesn't mean you put $100 on it. It's like, I literally saw a table where a guy had a stack of like 53 tops. And I'm looking at it like, okay, a stack of 53. I start going through it. Roy Campanella, that's good. Pee Wee Reese, nice. As early win, like I see Hall of Famers. But then I look at the Roy Campanella. The Roy Campanella literally has the top part of it like ripped off, like the top section of the card. It's the paper loss on it. And it has $40 on it. I'm like, is that your price? And he goes, yep. Just gonna put that back now. We're gonna put that back. We're not doing $40 on a Roy Campanella. Look, 53 tops Roy Campanella is a nice card. It literally has paper loss, like ripped, like about almost an inch section off the top of the front of the card. Like, no, my dude. That's not how this works.
I never really understood that on vintage cards, that you can destroy them and people will still put high prices to sell them. Now, I understand for true classic cards, okay? like a,
And I have a story that you'll appreciate. There is a card that you may appreciate that I did see there that is in a condition of what I described, but I'll go on.
was it a Reggie Lemon rookie card?
No, I saw
But
I saw multiple copies of the Booby Or, but there was one specific one. I wanted to take a picture. I forgot to take a picture. I would have included it here in the as part of the discussion.
there are some that are so iconic that even in -7 would still be worth something, but that is a very small population in my opinion. And you go to shows, or you go on eBay, or you even go on like Fanatics Live and some of these other auction sites, and you see these ridiculous numbers put next to cards that look like they went through the washer and dryer. And
that wasn't the washer and dryer though. Sorry, I had to.
Listen. If you want to take a pause of our rules for Monday recording, I have plenty to say to you, Mr. Mouse.
All right. This wasn't a knock at you. This was discussing another substance of liquid and maybe even cleaner, similar to a washer, but it wasn't the washer.
Oh, interesting.
It's it just I will never. I'm not giving someone $2,000 for a destroyed Bobby Orr rookie card. No. I will never do it. I will not give someone several $100s for a destroyed Gretzky card. Not doing it. I understand you get a Babe Ruth card. Okay, it's got to hold value just about any shape that it's in. Honus Wagner, whatever shape that it's in. 52 Mantle, whatever shape that it's in. It's a very small population that can get away with that, but somehow sellers believe that if you have a Campanella that's beat to hell, they can still somehow pull a lot of money out of your wallet, and I will never understand that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how, if you have a truly expensive card that would be very expensive at a high grade, then you can adjust down. Like there are vintage cards where you say $60 and I'll just throw the money at you. But they're very specific cards. There are cards that, like, yeah, for sure, no problem. But when, like, that would be if it was in nicer shape already, that's like the low end of what I want to go. So it is cheaper than it would be in a traditional, like in the equivalent of a 2 or a 3. It would cost you like $100, $200, something like that. But even still saying like $40, the problem is the type of damage you're talking about knocks it down so far that no, you really are going to have to knock it down. Like, so he had a pile there, and he had some 53 Bowman color, and he actually had some decent vintage car. But the reason that pile's still sitting there, and it's probably been there for multiple shows, because the price is wrong.
Yeah,
I saw another showcase that was literally, there was pre-war on there. There were some strip cards. There were some interesting, but everything had like $100, $150, $200 on it. Like $150 for a strip card of a guy I haven't really heard of with the corner completely taken off. That's a push, my man. That's it's a neat card. It's pre-war, yes, no doubt. It has value for sure, but there's levels to this. Like, I don't have to comp that to know that, yeah, that's too high. You're asking too much for that. Strip cards tend to be a little less expensive. Now, if you had like a name, because there are Babe Ruth strip cards, well, then yeah, you can command some value to it. Corner taken out or not, people still are interested. There's still value to it.
Yeah.
But it depends. Your mileage may vary. So what I saw was a mixed
bag.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was curious, so I pulled it up just to give context to listeners, viewers, sure, and y'all don't have to go look. There's a PSA 2.5 that's very, 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 very well centered. Great eye appeal.
Yep.
Right now on eBay, buy it now, free shipping at $113. So $40 for a authentic, because the paper loss.
Yeah, we'd have to call it authentic. Yeah, that'd be accurate.
Yeah, that would definitely be a no-go.
Yeah, it's too aggressive. And the sad part is, now I will make a point, because with vintage, and this is in the spirit of being more mature and also more accurate, we want to be accurate here. With vintage, eye appeal is a thing. If you give me that paper loss on the back of the card, but the front of it looks beautiful, well, now, 40 Canadian, you're not being unreasonable. Like I could probably get on board with this. We could probably make this work. But because it was on the front and it's so obvious and it's in an aesthetically bad place, it's not going to work.
Look how beautiful this is. I paid $50 for this.
Yeah, paper loss on the back.
This
and what year card is that? Can you give the year?
65, 66.
Yeah, so 65, 66 Bobby Hall.
Yeah.
If you are
fantastic shape. And I bought it from a friend, so I wasn't gonna argue with her and try to talk her down. She said 50. I went, something, that thing's worth when it, if it looked like that and it was perfect on the back, it's 150, or more. So I said, shoot, whatever. But yeah, I'm doing this to prove your point. I mean, here's something that is really, really in great shape on the front, but you're missing something on the back. Somebody taped this in a book back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then took it out, and there's the tape, tape took that with it. And
if you're looking for the campy, there's a PSA 2 on ComC right now. That's also really, really nice. New slab, new cert. On eBay, price is $92.24. I don't know what the ComC discount translates to if you went on to ComC, but great looking copy. And the thing to take into account with that, if you had bought that for $40 and say you wanted it slabbed or whatever, and even if you went through AMG Collectibles or PSA Canada, you would have had to pay the grading expense and all that. And, if you shipped it to them or whatever, you would be in at this price right here. And this is a great looking copy. So,
sure.
Yeah.
You
gotta play
all
that into
in this
account.
case, I absolutely, you do have to take it into account 100%. So in this case, though, I have a 53 Campanella, and mine is a decent copy, and I was able to buy it. But in this case, so let me also, since I'm in the discussion of it, let me say that my objective going into the show wasn't necessarily to look for anything. This is not one of those shows where I come in with my checklist and I don't even know what I'm looking into. This is a collectibles show. It's not a card show. It's a collectibles show. That said, I was impressed with the amount of actual card dealers that were in fact there. Now, do I see a lot of Young Guns and Future Watch cards, standard cards that you're going to see everywhere in this country from one coast to another at every card show, small, big, or large? It's, small, medium, or large. Yes, 100%. I totally saw plenty of that. You can kind of gloss over those a little bit, but when you see something that stands out a little bit, it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. But then the price point becomes the thing. And the other piece of the puzzle that I thought was interesting, and this plays well, and actually this gives me the segue into AMG Collectibles, amgcollectibles.ca, and the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. But the segue is this. They run their own monthly card show, not during the summertime. They will be back. So it is on hiatus for the summer, but it will be back. But when they run their card show, one of the key points is they run a show where the tables are inexpensive. And there is a plus to this, especially for some of the vendors, because that's what I said. As it turns out, this place, I believe the tables were about $50, which isn't terrible. Like it's pretty decent. The advantage of that is if, as a dealer, you don't really have to sell a lot, Eric, to get your money back and make it totally worth your time for a couple of hours to go set up at the show. But this is where I think some of these dealers lost an opportunity. So this is the lost opportunity here. Some of these dealers, in my opinion, got too greedy. They're sitting there bringing like these cards, and they're sitting there bringing like $500 cards, $1,000 cards. I'm not telling you not to do it. Hey, it's cool. You've got some nice inventory, but I'm also going to remind you that we're in Canadian Pittsburgh. Do you think there's a lot of folks sitting there with wads of cash? This isn't the expo. We're not dropping hundreds on the table here. We're not rolling that way in a collectibles show in Hamilton on a holiday Monday. So, you gotta understand your audience a little bit. So to me, and that was a conversation I was having with Bobby and with Josh and everything. I was sitting there like, I'm a little too far out of range. For me, the reason I did the hotel is just because it allowed me to get closer to it. I could relax, enjoy the night before, and then be able to get up early, have a nice breakfast, go over and enjoy the show. And we got there early. We got there before opening. We were actually able to look around in peace for a little bit, which is great. I would recommend that for this type of show, especially for this show. Get there early, look around, and I'll mention what my strategy change would be if we go next month, I already know, knowing what I know now, there's a small strategy change I would give that I would do in this situation. Point is, it allowed us to look around and figure out the lay of the land very quickly. And I go, okay, this is not bad. But one of the things I thought to myself is like, man, if I set up at the show for $50 a table or whatever, but if the Burrell and I set up a couple of tables, of course he'd have his stuff, and Bobby has kind of interesting stuff. But I would totally have bargain boxes. I would have 50-cent boxes. I would have $1 boxes. And I would be happy to volume discount if somebody wants to buy like a stack of $51 cards. Yeah, you can have it for 35. You know why? Because I'd make a killing and I would get rid of those cards super fast and I'd get my money back almost immediately. Yeah. I'm sitting there like, why are you trying to squeeze every last dime out of these? Why are you putting $500 cards on this table? Who is buying this? Could I buy it if it was something I really wanted? Sure, but who else is buying this?
I know we talked and touched on this at some point in a past episode, because I actually brought up, like, when we went to the Atlantic City National, that was one thing I noticed is, and you heard the talk, even at like Chantilly and the National stuff, the dealers have started saying the real estate, as the table fees go up, becomes more valuable, and they don't want to take up the table space with value boxes. And so you were having to hit the smaller local shows to find those dealers that had the value. Now, I'm not saying there isn't any, but there's less than it used to be, because the real estate becomes more valuable. They got to have the display cases there instead of taking up 6 foot of space with 3-row boxes or whatever for 50-cent dollar cards. So you're spot on right there. These small shows are great because the dealers shouldn't feel pressured, and your audience is that value audience. Like, they're coming to the small show. They're not making the trip to the larger regional shows and that sort of thing. And
they want a deal. They want to walk away with a stack of cards. They want to walk away with a stack of cards feeling like they got something. Give them some 4-row. Like, if I had some tables, 75% of my space is allocated to 4 rows. And then I've got some boxes behind me, maybe specific stuff that maybe some people maybe I have some of those young guns and some of those future. Instead of wasting my showcase, I would still have a showcase. I can show off some nice cards that maybe, hey, if it just so happened. By the way, the smarter dealers took cards. They had Square, they had the little machines, and they were smart, because not everybody, to a small show, you're not necessarily bringing a ton of cash. So make it easier for your buyer. Smart. So you can have a showcase with some nice stuff just in case they happen to come by, and you can show it off on Instagram. You can be like, hey guys, we're setting up at the show. I've got this stuff here. You come by, you can set up a deal or maybe do a trade or whatever. No problem. But for everybody else, hey, go check out through my dollar boxes here. There's some nice stuff. And then if there's it, you grab some more stuff and you refill it. Here you go. Give it a. You don't have to sit there and sort every single card. You can be like, guys, I'll take $1 or $2 off for these cards. Go for it.
I've always said, if I were ever to sell at a show, but get a table and sell at a show, that my goal would be to leave with my pockets full and my car empty. These guys who go, every weekend someplace, take an hour to bring in all their stuff. They set it up. They got stands, they got hangers, they got this, they got that. It took them forever to get all their stuff in. Why do you want to bring all that back out to your car? Move it.
Yep.
And some people, over the many, many years that I've been doing this, just like you guys, have seen this, they will not budge. It doesn't matter. If not, I got too much into that. Nope, that's what I need. Nope, that's what it's going for. It's like, dude, I'm sitting here, I got cash in my hand. I'm not giving you I'm not offering you $5 for a $500 card. All right. I'm not treating you like an idiot. I'm offering you $5 for a $10 card. Do you really want to put it back in your car? Or do you bought this in a lot and you probably paid 25 cents for it?
Yep.
I just don't get it. Why they want to spend another hour lugging this stuff all back into their car and back into their house or their storage unit for next weekend. And it's like,
right.
I want to leave with my pockets full and my car empty.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I've always thought I'm not somebody who's ever built up inventory. I don't really buy collections. It's not my thing. Going to that show, well, I'll tell you what my objectives were. They're very simple. I didn't quite have the energy that day, even though my breakfast was fantastic. It was great breakfast. I enjoyed
I
it.
didn't know you even knew what breakfast was, so I'm shocked.
I do when the occasion is right. And let me listen, like because we could get service immediately. The Burrell joined me as I was already working on. Like I got 3 eggs, I got bacon, I got sausage, I got pancakes. It was fantastic. It was glorious. Mwah. So anyway, so I have my beautiful breakfast and all my carb loading. Carb loading before the show, very important. So we go there, and then when we get in, I'm able to check out the lay of the land, see different things, and I was able to make a deal very early on because I saw it, and it's going to play into the card story, which we'll get into it. So, like I said, the show is going to be the thread, but there's going to be some things to play off. The first one is just our observations that some dealers clearly enjoy just setting up for the sake of setting up. But at $50 a table, that's a very reasonable rate, by the way. And some folks are grandfathered in cheaper. I know some of the guys got in at $35 a table. $35 a table.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's free money, man. Like, I do not have an excuse for you. You should be making money hand over fist because they had good traffic. So if you price your stuff well, I assure you, you could have made some sales because there were people interested. But again, know your audience. Don't try to sell them on hundreds of dollar cards. Try to be like, hey guys, you would make a mint with reasonably priced dollar boxes and $5 and $10. You could sell $5 and $10 cards all day long to these folks. And I promise you would do very well, especially if you bought in bulk your own time. So my objective, if we go again next month, would be to get there early and then go through those bargain boxes, knowing what I know, and then especially stuff with like old topplers where it's very clear not paying that much attention to it. Go through those and just scroll through. Trust me, those are the ones guaranteed. Those are the ones that are going to have the stuff that you're going to actually want to pay
anymore. We've been I don't want to say friends. We've been acquaintances.
I was going to say settle down.
We've been acquaintances like, I don't know, 4 years now or some ridiculous thing. And I didn't know you knew what breakfast was. And I didn't know you knew the word early. So I'm
what rule are we up to? What number are we up to?
I think we're up to 8, I believe.
Okay. Number 9 is Carlos likes money. Write that shit down. Anyway, the point is for money, Carlos can make a lot. For money, Carlos will invent mornings. They don't exist right now. Currently, they do not exist. For money, Carlos will invent mornings. All right. I will invent them. You're all welcome.
Yeah.
You're all welcome.
The other thing I never understand, like to Eric's point with the museum people, because they're not card show dealers, they're museum hosts. They like to play show and tell, and they put a lot of effort, spend a lot of money to show what they have. So you have to appreciate and respect that. But what I don't get, like especially on this type of show, so for one, you're spot on with the value box thing. You can make profit just selling 50-cent dollar cards at a 50-cent or $50 table fee. But on top of that, let's say you do have some nicer things and you want to bring it. I don't understand the theory of, I know sometimes people price up to negotiate down because they know that people want to negotiate.
Yeah.
But I don't understand pricing above eBay and not wanting to budge. Because in theory, you could sell that card and somebody would jump on it at a 10% discount of eBay comp. And you're still going to make more money than selling it on eBay just because of the eBay fees alone. Disregard your table fees, that yes, the $50 cost is in there. But if you're making that back on the value boxes and that sort of thing, you can sell some of your bigger things at a discount. And I'm for the listeners, I'm doing air quotes discount.
Yeah.
And move items. We all know that cards are very volatile, and what it's priced at today could be 20% less tomorrow. Who the hell knows? So if you have someone there with cash money or Venmo or whatever the hell the cool kids are using today, and it's just 10% below comps, move it. You move it and make the money.
Yeah. Well, look. If we want to really break this down, that's why I said that's why Eric. The reason why I said it, I think this card show made for a good podcast episode because I'll share more as we're talking here. But the point is, there are themes that we have touched on before that now we get to revisit here with a practical application. Like I said, Eric, under the right circumstances, my point is when I saw what was out there, now knowing what's there, I can be like, okay, look, Carlos is the last person in the world that wants to spend his time looking through bargain bins most of the time. However, I'm looking at untapped potential here. Just scanning through, I can kind of see a little bit, just from a little bit of looking. I go, okay, now I know this in advance. So in that case, if we get in there early, I start hitting those. Why? Because Carlos does like money. Whereas my time may not be worth sitting there going through millions of boxes. Since this is a smaller show, you hit up the tables that have those boxes and you go straight for those, beeline for those, go through, and you start checking because some of that stuff clearly has not been picked through very well. And you can check that out. Well, guess what? Then on an hourly rate perspective, I don't have to spend a lot of time here. I can go boom, 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 find things. Some can go to ComC because maybe that's the appropriate venue for it. Some can go on eBay. Maybe that's the appropriate venue for it. And some, heaven forbid, like we were joking about it, but I'll be honest, under the right circumstances, the Burrell and I may end up setting up at one of these things down the road because if he's got some extra stuff he wants to move, we split a couple of tables and I can make my money back. But right. It's buying in bulk stuff where that's how you fill it out. And guess what? I am going to price it to move because my goal is not to carry that shit back to the car. I don't want it.
Yep.
Take it. Take it away from me. Yep. So that's that. And guess what? You make a couple of $100 for a few hours work. That might be worth my time.
Oh yeah.
That may in fact be maybe worth my time.
So I'm going to tie this in since you brought up the buying and flipping and all that. Sure. Obviously in the reseller space, I've met a lot of people now. And a lot of them, and part of the reason I've mentioned doing the Bobbles channel and tying in the reselling with it is because I've seen a lot of the transition and merging of resellers into the card space. And there's a couple guys one that I haven't personally met, another one that I've met a few times that have actually kind of built pretty decent sized card channels now. But their main focus on the content is the bargain boxes. They're going to these shows and they're bargain box hunting, or, they'll open a blaster or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
But they're not spending $500 on a single card. They're buying bulk out of bargain boxes. And they're doing what you just said. Some of it's going to eBay, but they're also playing the whatnot game because that's another avenue to make profits on this stuff. Churn and burn. You go and buy it cheap. You find the first Bowmans or refractors of somebody or numbered inserts, that sort of thing. And that stuff is moving relatively good on whatnot. So they're picking it up, at 50 cents and selling it for, I don't know, and just throwing numbers out, but $3 to $5 on whatnot. And they're churning and burning really quickly. So that's been another play to curate profits pretty quickly. So.
Exactly. For sure. And that's why I say, like, I'm not morally opposed to it, but as I mentioned to Bobby, I go, if it's not going to be close to what I'd make it work when I'm sitting there working and doing my day-to-day job, I'm not interested in creating another job for myself. I don't mind doing a little flipping on the side and doing stuff like that because it can be very nice, but I don't put a ton of time into it. The key is the time versus the amount that you make. That's how you determine the hourly rate. If you make $50 on something, but it took you 5 minutes, that's a tremendous hourly rate. That you didn't spend a lot of time, you didn't put a lot of energy into it, and you made $50. But if it took you 16 hours to make $50, not so great. It's the same $50, but there's a big difference in the amount of energy you expended into one versus another. That's important because, again, to each their own. But how much do you value your time? I value my time, especially my own time, very much so. So I don't want to be doing something that's just going to eat up a bunch of my time and not be really worth the effort. But I think what ended up happening with that one is, like I said, Bobby did very well. He was able to find himself some things, and we'll talk more about it on Friday. So he'll be able to detail and really give some information. So I won't speak for him, but he shared some of the stuff and I got a chance to take a look at it. It looks like some interesting stuff. He'll have to fill in the details of exactly what it is because he knows it well. But then that's the point. He was able to get his value out of that time. And I'll tell you what I did. So even though I didn't end up going through boxes and everything, I looked through the tables, tried to see if I could find some, didn't see anything too crazy, saw some stuff that was overpriced. But one of the first dealers that I walked by, a gentleman who had a pretty good setup, he actually had some different boxes. And it looks like he buys a fair amount of stuff. Like it looks like he has cases of stuff normally, and then broke out some of the boxes. Sell some, packs, but then also was able to sell the boxes. So here's what I saw, and this will play right into what we've talked about in the past. He had 4 boxes of AEW left. So he had 2 Metal Universe and then 2 Allure, which Allure is my favorite of those ones. But then I took a look on the table and I saw that he had them there for $75, which is below cost, because I know exactly what the cost is on those boxes from experience. And I tried to see if he knocked a couple bucks off, and he goes, "Yeah, it's below cost already, man." I'm like, fair enough. I can't. You're not wrong. I can't push you too hard. So I said, okay, so you got 2 of those and 2 of those. He goes, "Yeah, all right, I'll take them all." So $300. I bought 4 hobby boxes, and now we're going to come back around because I've got more stories about the card show. But this is going to play now into the card that we got. So let me share my card and I'll play the story. So 2 boxes of metal and 2 boxes of Allure. In the 2 boxes of metal, I did pretty well, nothing too crazy. I managed to pull a red PMG. Not a great character, a couple of bucks, not a big deal. Pulled another case hit of another not so great character. Not too bad. The Allure are the ones that I really like. First box, I opened it up and I've recorded the videos, so they're on my wrestling channel, so it'll be a link in the description for that. I recorded all the box breaks. I opened all 4 boxes and recorded them all on video, and they're all. The Metal Universe one is already up on the channel. It's live right now as we speak. I'll include a link in the description. And the 2 Allure ones will be going live probably in the next week or so. So first Allure box, I pulled a Chris Jericho autograph out of 35. Not bad. Pretty nice. You're not guaranteed an autograph per box, so that's pretty good. Chris Jericho, decent name. That's right. Now, the second card. I'm going to show you the card, but I'm also going to give you a little explanation. I'll give you so you guys get ready with your silly card or fun card or whatever it is, because now I'm going to share this one with you, but also explain what it is.
Okay.
Right. So second box, I opened it up, going through it, and I recorded even the moment that happened. I'm going to have a little short as well after I make the video live. I pulled what's called 16-bit. So there is an insert called 16-bit, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's the character digitized. Those are super short printed. I don't think they're even 1 per case. They're super tough. But it also has a 1-of-1 version. The Golden Treasures 1-of-1. So I pulled the Golden Treasures 16-bit of Danhausen. Now, I'm going to explain who Danhausen is. Oh, well, I'm going to explain now.
You did explain to me in the past, so I do know who this character is.
Well, this is a 1-of-1 of Danhausen, who is a very popular character. And I'll get back to that in a second. This is actually a lot more interesting than it may seem on the surface. This right here, the regular 16-bit version of this last sold for $280 US. This is the 1-of-1 version. So, and I'm already being pinged over here on the Facebooks. I shared it on the Facebooks, and I know they're like, "Can I buy the thing? Can I do a deal with the thing? Can I buy the thing?" And I go, "Tell me what you're thinking. Get back to me." So anyway, so that I pulled that card. And I'll also show, so for the folks checking out the visual version, I'll actually show a picture who Danhausen is to help out a little bit also with the visual aid. And I'll share the image later on as well. So there is Danhausen himself, like Eric coming from the Kiss concert, basically the same. Got the face paint going, like it's all there. Chest tattoo, same thing. Basically, that's it right there.
Boom. No, well, chest tattoo actually.
Listen. I think you lack commitment, Eric. The point is, I think you lack commitment.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I don't have one of those.
You're not enough of a Danhausen. But the point is that is a very popular. Look, it is a silly card, 100%. But it is also a silly card of a very popular character, and it could end up being quite lucrative, Mr. Brendan. I spent $300 on nice 4 boxes, and it was a good pull. And like I said, the Jericho 1-of-1. There you go. See, I told you. See, not far off, Brandon. I was right. Bang
pretty
on.
Close. He messed his makeup up, but yeah, pretty close.
See, it's right there. So anyway, this is the 4th 1-of-1 I've pulled from Allure. I've killed it on this product. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite product they've ever made. So credits to Billy for this one. We'll give him credit for this one. I do like that product.
I do.
I know. No, but I've done very well on it. And those were the last 2 boxes he had. And I pulled an autograph out of 35 and 1 and a 1-of-1 of a very popular character on the second one. So I did very well on that one. And I pulled a PMG on the other 2. So not bad. I did pretty good for my only main purchase for it. I should get my money back and then some. We should be in pretty good shape, I think. So a win in that regard. So in effect, I did get stock cards in bulk, and I'll be moving some of the smaller cards as well to make a couple bucks here and there. So overall, I accomplished the same aim, even though I did it in box break form, because the boxes were at a price that I was super comfortable with. So in this case, is box breaking gambling? You're damn right. But if you lower the price far enough, then it's a calculated gamble. Then you can kind of get your money back in the aggregate. Or if you get lucky, then hey, great. I got lucky in this case.
I mean, you got to figure. You said bet $300 on boxes. That
on
card
4 hobby boxes.
So that card is going to get you anywhere between 300 and 500.
If the regular did
shocked,
more, if the regular did 270,
I got 280 was the regular. Don't be shocked if the 1 of 1. Don't be shocked if I don't push some people near 4 figures.
Yeah, if the regular did 280 range, you're in play for a nice come up on those boxes.
Yeah, I think we'll do all right. And then, like I said, I still intend to move some of the other singles from the rest of the stuff and collect the little amounts here and there and sprinkle that in.
Is there other parallels, or is it just the base and then the 1-on-1?
So for that one, it's the base and the 1-on-1. So there's just the one parallel.
So there's nothing lower numbered to compare. Gotcha.
Yeah, the first one is already super sure printed. So it's already better than harder than a case hit. And then you tack on top of that you're taking the 1-of-1 version. So if somebody wants to collect that character, that is one of their grail pieces, one of their key pieces.
Have you checked prices of any of the 1-on-1s?
Yeah, some of the other ones have gone for a pretty penny. Again, character dependent, but he is one of the more popular characters.
Just to get an idea, that's what I was saying. Look at like someone similar, not exact, but similar. But
yeah, part of the problem is that not enough of them have been pulled. Like all things considered, I've pulled look, when I go and look up so Brandon, here's a unique problem to have. When I go look up comps for Golden Treasure 1-of-1s from AEW Lore, a bunch of the comps I see are ones that I sold. So it's like I actually have held a disproportionate number of a lot of those for different characters. I managed to pull a number of them, so I'm the one who sold them. So good luck. Open season. I actually have some people pinging me, and they're like, "Would you consider doing a partial trade?" It'd have to be damn good, Betty. It'd have to be damn good. And you're probably gonna have to throw in cash, but I'll hear you out. We'll see. So good luck on that one. So let me share Brandon's card here. So mine is the Danhausen card because it has the story to go along with it. It is a silly character. Have a little fun with it, but it came from the box breaks. So let's take a look at what you got here. All right. So I see Warren Jabali, ABA All-Stars. He's got a floating head to go along with it. And I like the guy in the background who looks like he's flying.
So we've discussed some photoshopping events and things like that have done in the past, and I felt this might be one of Topps' best work. So it looks like this photo was taken inside of a high school gym, and you see the legs back here. You got 2 guys here playing basketball, and they didn't have an action shot for poor old Warren here, and so they took this image and just plopped him in it in Photoshop, just standing there randomly dribbling the basketball, while these 2 guys back here are doing their own thing, looking like in a high school gymnasium.
It's pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's something special.
It is.
Let me see if I can
I definitely think you should win again.
Yeah. And by the way, just so we're clear, listen, much love to those of you that have been watching and listening to these, but you guys have let us down as far as the participation on this card section, this card segment, which we're enjoying. We're actually quite enjoying looking at these. Again, this one fell into my lap, but this is a really good example of exactly what we were talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a community post on the channel. We're going to let this one ride for a couple of days, and then I'm going to post a community post. And I would love to get some participation and some people voting on the cards that we're going to have. So we got the ABA All-Stars here. We got the Danhausen card. If you're a Fanhausen for Danhausen, now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. And then Eric will get a chance to include his as well. And then I'll get back to a couple more card show stories. But this one's a good example, I would say. Also, the basketball.
I'd like to point out, too, I think the guy right here, he's about to trip because it looks like his shoe's untied.
Yeah. Well, the other guy looks like he's about to stiff arm him. Like if you look at he's playing defense, but it looks like he's doing like a stiff arm move as well.
There's a lot going on here. But
it really is.
Congrats to Topps for the Photoshop job.
I've never seen that card, and I've never seen one So blatantly bad.
Now you see why I cut the other card, because that other one was pretty good, but I was like, I gotta edge it out for this one. So, but yeah,
Jabali ABA All-Star.
I think you have the best one again, but I will do mine. 1968, 69, O-Pee-Chee, the Big M, Frank Mahovlich, was one of the biggest stars of his generation. The Big M was a god in Toronto, playing for the Maple Leafs. And in 67, he got traded to the hated Detroit Red Wings. And this is his first Red Wings card. And you may notice his head was ridiculously superimposed onto someone else's body.
What are you talking about? Maybe he has a very flexible neck, Eric. Come on.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Just because you don't do yoga.
I get the face, I get the head, but who in the hell photoshopped the Detroit Red Wings logo? Like, it's not even.
Yeah.
Isn't
right.
it
The logo's almost off
chest?
the shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like over
wings,
on his arm
the
and
wings
everything.
are up on his shoulder, on his bicep. I mean, it's just bad. And I mean, look at that.
Go home, Tops. You're drunk. Go home,
now,
Tops.
Again,
that's pretty bad.
This isn't. I can't even remember the gentleman's name that was on Bobbles' card. Okay, poor guy. Got that was
Warren Jabali.
This is one of the biggest names of the generation. Okay, this is perennial All-Star, Hall of Famer. Just one of the best, most dominating players of his time, and this is what they did to him.
You know what? I've already given the story previously on the live, but you know what my best memory of Frank Mahovlich is? 2000 All-Star game. He's doing his radio spot, and I'm just there, listening, watching, and I don't have anything for him to sign, but I've got an index card and I've got a Sharpie, and then he jumps down from the radio spot, sees the index card and the Sharpie, grabs my index card and Sharpie, writes his name. Still got the autograph, writes it, and then immediately goes and starts running. Fleet of foot that Frank Mahovlich was that day. I was actually very impressed. Old man can motor. Dang, I saw a man run.
I have never seen Frank, met Frank, but truth be told, I do have his brother's Pete, who's bigger than Frank, and Frank was the big M, and Pete was the little M, although Pete is a freaking Sasquatch. And I do have Pete's information in my phone that he gave me. So Pete, I have worked with, and he's a quirky dude. If you ever met Pete Mahovlich, but he is a big man. And I never got why one was the big M and the other the little M, when the size difference was so different.
Indeed. So I will include a community post, so you will have those three options that you can select from. But just remember, folks, justice for Troy Dan. Remember, just never forget, justice for Troy Dan. We have a lot to make up for as a people.
Yeah,
we let Troy Dan down. We really did.
We let everyone down.
It was the first week. We'll not be too hard on the crowd. It was the first week, so
just saying, Troy Dan. But anyway, so bottom line, so that ended up working out very well. Of course, I enjoy opening the boxes. And for me, the price point was great. And I think, listen, we know about, look, on Friday, we'll talk more about the various hockey players you've met. You've already told us about Peter Forsberg. He was literally this poor man who was under a bridge earlier. And then he's hanging out with you and he thinks you're going to give him some food or something. And then you didn't because you're a jerk. And it's just terrible. And then you kept thinking he was Peter Forsberg. And it was very awkward for everyone involved. The point is, so we've got. There you go. Hey, I think Brandon's is more impressive. I'm sorry. Did you see his on his phone? It was far more impressive than yours.
No, I missed it. I was paying for
No, look.
something.
See? Way more impressive.
I don't need
That's right there. And his is legit. I don't know what yours is, but
I have that one too, and I'm gonna delete it. I don't want that dirty in my phone.
Anyway, bottom line, the end result was effectively what we were talking about, though. It was in effect, indirectly, purchasing items in bulk and having volume with the dollars to kind of match up, which then in turn allows the flipping to happen. In this case, like I said, I also added the gambling element for myself, but I also made it cheap enough. And in this case, the guy, smart on his part, he wanted to clear it out. It was at that point below cost, but at the same time, it wasn't moving for him. Like if you're discounting it like that, it's not moving for you. So in other words, you would rather take the $300, lose a little bit on these boxes, and at least get your $300. And then it's on me to figure out what I'm doing with it after that. Well, I'm going to make some value out of it. Great for me. But that doesn't change the fact that the guy still got $300 in a show where the tables are $50. So at least right there, within moments of the show starting for you, you at least got your money back and then some. Now your job is to sell the rest of your stuff. And with these small shows, like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, I don't care what it is. And by the way, he also took cards. He was literally charging up his thing. And he was like, and I was like, well, do you take card? He goes, yeah. Hold on. I'm just done charging. Yeah, here you go. If you want. Okay, boom. So immediate payment done. And then I still had cash in my pocket just in case I found something else wandering around. Smart. Yeah. Like, that's very somebody sounds like somebody who wants business and wants to actually make money.
Yeah, I don't
worked out.
Go ahead, Bobbles. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that if you are a dealer and you don't take Venmo, PayPal, some type of electronic payment nowadays, you're screwing yourself, because it allows you to make sales that otherwise you would not be able to make, because maybe I spent all my cash because I went around the room clockwise and you're the last table I got to, but I'm willing to give you the $200, but I'm all out of greenbacks here. And no, I don't do that. I don't do that technical nonsense.
Well, and the other thing on that, like, let's say let's say you found a booby or rookie, and you blew your wad on that, and then you found something else you liked. You could go to the ATM, but the ATMs have a limit on how much cash you can withdraw. So, like, you're really restricting your customers. Most people have plastic money that allows them to spend a lot more than the ATM machine is going to let you withdraw. So, and especially in a situation like that, on a holiday, I'm assuming banks are closed. And so somebody couldn't even go to the bank and say, hey, I need $6,000, or I'm just throwing a number out there, but I need a couple grand to go buy this card. They wouldn't have even been able to do it, but they could have, swiped that card or tapped it or whatever. So yeah, totally agree.
If someone doesn't want to spend the money for a credit card reader or all that, fine. But there's no reason you can't have Venmo and PayPal as a dealer. And it blows my mind that some of these people just won't do it. And some of them are older and they don't want to deal with that technical nonsense. Others, don't want, what it comes down to is tax evasion. They don't want the stuff traced, right? And they don't want to pay whatever fees there might be on those apps. And it just dumbfounds me. It's like you're going to give up $200 because you don't want to pay a $3 fee or whatever the hell it is, and you're trying to hide it from the government.
Well, one important thing that I would add to that, though, is don't be one of those guys and then have multi-$100 cards, hoping against hope that people happen to. Again, I remind you your demographic. I remind you, think a little bit. Even the people who may have that cash may not be wanting to have $1,000 in their pocket, going around in Hamilton and in these shows, and particularly maybe you have the cash and you can transfer it electronically, to your point, but you don't want to be sitting with a wad of cash in your pocket and be flashing a wad of cash around. Maybe that's not what you're into in that kind of a situation. So why deny yourself?
The other thing too, like, that situation there, what I was going to say, when I accidentally interrupted Eric there, that was a win-win essentially for both of you and the dealer. That product, you're enjoying it, the allure and everything. I know for a fact my LCS has quite a bit of boxes of AEW on the shelf. I don't know for sure what the price is, and I could look into it, but I don't know what shipping would be and all that. Either way, that obviously is a product that many dealers you've came across with AMG. They've had trouble moving it, but you're appreciating the product. You enjoy it. You have the wrestling channel you can do the videos on, or wrestling, my bad, that you can do the videos on.
Yeah, get collected.
It was fun for you. It created content. And
I also know some collectors who want certain characters. So it's actually easier for me once the box is open and I know the contents they're in. It's easier for me to say, hey, buddy, so-and-so, you collect so-and-so. Hey, here's what I got. Are you interested? It's way easier for me to I know who to reach out to for some of these characters and make it happen.
Right. So, I mean, on the flip side, you hit a really nice card. And you mentioned that you seem to be getting lucky, so to speak, and you've hit several of them, but that's going to happen more if the product's not being opened, right?
And also if I've opened a lot of boxes as the result of what we just talked about, I can say legitimately I've opened almost 2 cases of it. And you open multiple cases, it makes it easier to pull more nice card. It's just going to magically happen by volume alone.
Right. And knowing that the product hasn't moved as good as expected or whatever, you're likely up there in individual, opening. So it makes sense that you've hit some nice cards. Also, you're not like putting all your eggs in one basket. You're not just buying like a sealed case of it and getting that case hit. You bought pieces here or there, and it kind of like gives you that opportunity to hit more because it's pieced cases. So you've gotten lucky, which is the whole name of the game in wax anyway. We talked about the gambling aspect, but I think it was a clear win-win for both of you. He probably didn't expect to move those boxes there. He probably brought them along. He might have even had more, but brought a couple along. Hey, somebody might tickle their fancy. They want a $75 box. He probably didn't expect show opening. Oh, well, I done sold out of what I didn't expect to sell. So, and then, again, as you said, or as it was stated, you won as well. So that works out.
I think it does. I think that there are some important lessons, though. I think it was a lot of fun. And now I'll circle back around to one other thing that we'll touch on in the same vein of what we talked about in the past. So I talked about this is a one-day show, smaller show. There were some interesting lessons that were learned just observing what these guys did with it. Again, I think missed opportunity because they had great foot traffic. Table prices were very reasonable. So I'm sitting there going like, okay, if the table prices are reasonable, guys, like you should all be making money. There's no excuse. Like you don't have to sell a lot to make money here in this situation.
One question for context, and should have asked this earlier. I don't think you've mentioned it. Okay. Was there entry fee?
$5.
Oh, then hell yeah. Those are the great shows. Cheap table fees for the dealers, cheap entry fee for the that was a great show.
That's why they had no problem getting people in the door. And it ended up being, I think it ended up being like 160 tables because again, it's a collectible show. So you had Funko Pop, you had Funko Pop people, you had people selling some video games. You had some people selling some, video games in boxes. You had some people selling action figures. The one guy, toys for sure. So Josh bought a couple of Batman cards, some of those 60s Batman cards, the ones with the cartoons and everything.
I think is it 66 or 68?
Yeah, it'd be there with the Batman show, the Adam West show. So it'd be right around the same era as the Adam West show. But he bought a couple of cards there for his own set, and the same guy had a PSA 1 Booby-Or. Nice. And he had some other nice cards, and behind him he had comic books, including graded and ungraded comic books. So the guy is actually a dealer. I think he represents a comic book store. So he's like a comic and collectibles store. So he had hockey cards, he had Batman cards, he had, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So even though he didn't have the lowest prices, obviously Josh was able to find a couple of cards that he was happy with at a price that he was happy with, aka the guy was at least willing to deal a little bit. So in the end, guess what? The guy made a sale. Well, sir, you just made your money back and you paid your box for your tables, right? Well, isn't that the name of the game? If you're going to, again, it goes back to what I said earlier, Eric. If you're going to bother, you're going to drag boxes out there, you're going to set up a table. I want to get my money back as soon as reasonably possible. Well, I will probably want to make this as easy as possible for myself. You can have nice inventory because that's good. Hey, maybe some of the locals realize you're setting up. They know you got some nice inventory. Maybe they bring some cash saying, hey, yeah, I want to make the deal on this thing today. Awesome. Fantastic. But at the same time, then all you're going to looking for from your perspective is you're looking for the opportunity to be able to, like I said, make your money back right away, make it a profitable show for yourself right away. And then everything after that is gravy. And if you got some nicer stuff that you can sell, hey, that's awesome. That takes a good show and makes it an amazing show. And then, hey, roll into next month. Do it again. That's just kind of my thought on it. Like I said, we enjoyed it. We had some fun out of it. And ended up being a pretty good trip overall, but kind of talking about what I was talking about earlier when we talked about the National. I made it a mini vacation for myself. We would joke about that I don't do mornings, and I don't. But I was already in town, and I was able to have a nice breakfast beforehand, and I enjoyed the evening before just hanging out and whatever. And then some people we knew were able to pop in. And one more little thing I'll add. After we had finished attending the show there and hanging out, we went over to Harvey's, which is just a little fast food chain right beside. They were open, and we went, the Burrell and Josh wanted to grab some lunch. So I said, okay, great. I'll join you guys. I grabbed myself a milkshake. While we're sitting there chatting, gentleman who watches the live stream goes, is that Carlos? He walks over and he goes, oh my God, it's Bobby. So he recognized my voice from the back of my head when I'm talking to Bobby. So it was the car show, but that was in a fast food restaurant right beside the show. He was at the show, and then he goes, yeah, I heard that you guys were going to be there, and I didn't see you in there. But then I heard the voice, and then I had to go look over, and then I saw Bobby. I was like, there you go.
And they got to see Shut Up Josh. So it's a bonus.
That's right. Bonus. That's right. That's all I'm saying. So see, we talk about the National thing. I made it a mini vacation. Okay. Made it make sense for me. Great. I was able to find something. Great. The Burrell found something great, and it worked out. And it's all the friends we made along the way, and it didn't cost me as much as a National.
And I want to give a shout out to Shut Up Josh, because there in the picture,
and look at and see, you can see Bobby's smiling, Josh is smiling, but look at Carlos. Carlos is bearing a hole into Eric's soul, because Carlos knows that Eric's being suspicious and shady. He's looking right at him.
Yeah,
look at him.
It's true.
Carlos knows.
Well, I appreciated Josh repping the shirt, and I was actually I proved that I am not as ancient as I may look.
No, you're still ancient. No, like you're 100% ancient. You did not prove that.
You look like fucking Gandalf.
Hey, I'm trying to, man, it like has stunted the growth, but no, Carlos sent the picture and was trolling Eric with it, and I noticed the logo, and I was like, is that Josh? Because I never seen a picture of him.
If we bring the picture back up, in this one, you can actually see it more clearly. So hold on here. I'll zoom in. So first, that's Carlos giving judgment at Eric. And then here, you can in fact see the Bobbles and Ball Cards logo right there on the shirt.
And I was trying to like replay. I was like, who in the hell up north would have the shirt? Because I only made them available one time to purchase, and I was selling them, and I used the money to go buy some of the Toys for Tots things or whatever. Just pitched it in towards that, but I had gave them away a couple times, and I was like, who in the hell would have one up there? And then I remembered Josh got a giveaway with some free grading. Like I comped out and did some free grading and t-shirt, and I think a mug and some other stuff. So
no, I think he gave him the thermo.
Gotta be who it is.
I think he gave him the thermo. By the way, he raved about the thermo. He still uses the thermo. So he compliments.
Oh, dude, they're awesome. They're Arctics. Like we didn't go cheap on that shit. They're good.
Well, Josh went out of his way to state that he in fact he approved very much of that thermo.
Yep,
very much so.
They weren't cheap. So, but yeah, it was cool to see it. So not many people have those shirts.
There you go. It's a collectible. But I think the key point, though, and again, just bring it full circle to our discussions of the national. Like I said, this card shows a small card show in Canadian Pittsburgh, randomly on a holiday Monday, was able to bring together a lot of themes that we've talked about on this podcast and on the live stream, including we made a thing out of it because, like I said, I let people know that I was going to go, reached out. Josh, actually, speaking of the AW, I had a card for Josh for one of the characters he collects. So we were able to transact that card. He was able to get the card. I got a couple bucks for it. Great. We met up there. We got to hang out with the Burrell. Bobby found some stuff out of it. I was able to find some stuff out of it. Josh was able to buy a couple of cards. It was a win. Everybody got to hang out. We got to chat. It was a good time. Again, even for a small show, we still made something out of it. We were still able to make something out of it, get something, and everybody won. Everybody was able to get something out of that time. That, I think, is a successful excursion. That's how it should be done. And again, I didn't have to. We could have driven all the way down, but I'm not doing early morning driving. No. Perish the thought.
And not to recycle back to the last couple episodes, but we might as well mention this is also proof that you can get together, hang out, have fun, and it doesn't have to be an expensive trip, multi-day, 100, 150, how much ever the tickets are to get into the national, all of that shit. You can have fun and get together with folks in the hobby at smaller shows and have a hell of a good time as well. So just wanted to mention that also. So
yeah, no, it's that was 100% exactly the point that we wanted to make sure that we talked about here, because in this case, it's what we made out of it. On paper, a small show on a holiday weekend, it's like, what? No expectations. There was no way for me to be able to expect anything going in. Again, I didn't go there with a checklist, because how would I know what they have? I have no idea who's setting up there or whatever the case may be. Right. So you're just going in. You're going with an open mind. You're just gonna hey, we'll let it play however it's gonna play. We'll see. We'll have some fun. And then Bobby was nice enough to give me a lift back. And by early afternoon, I was back here. I got to open the boxes, got to pull some cool cards, recorded some videos that I'll put up on the channel. So the content gods have been appeased. Praise the content gods, as always. Got that done. We managed to have this discussion and conversation based off of that. Got to play into a lot of the categories we got to talk about. Got to share some fun cards. Again, even one of those played into it. So we were able to get a little bit out of all these different threads that we were able to do. And now we know, again, I wish that some of these dealers would also learn the lesson that we just talked about. I was sitting there, guys, like, I don't understand how some of you don't make money every time out. I don't understand, because cheap tables is like a cheat code and cheap admission. And trust me, there are people who want to go. There are people who will go on there to bargain hunt. They're coming, and they will. Again, the room got pretty full. I had to kind of maneuver my way around the folks a little bit because it was getting a little tricky to move around after a while. I was like, dude, come on. And by the way, they had a little concession stand thing, and I wasn't sure what to expect with it, so I needed a bottle of water. I walked over. I was like, all right, $1. I accept your terms.
$1.
So I got my bottle of water for $1. A shiny loony. Slid across the table.
In American money, I think for $1, I would get the water and they would give me 75 cents.
Well, no, with American money, knowing that you're American, you would get the 75 cents, but the water was actually them spitting in it. That's what you would get.
It would just be $1 to push the button on the water fountain, and you get like 30 seconds.
That's basically what would happen. Yes, correct. Yep. So a little different, but similar. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, wait, that's downright reasonable, sir.
I got a little pissed off this weekend.
No way.
So I went on a travel out of state, and I realized that I could make it all the way near to where I was getting to on one single tank of gas. But when I got there to fill up my gas tank, their gas was like 80 cents a gallon cheaper. And I was severely pissed off. It's the same gasoline. Why in the hell is it so much different? Like in price, I was shocked. But yeah, that was not too happy. No. I was happy when I got there. I wasn't happy when I had to come back home and fill the tank up again.
Right. And you're looking at that big number going, but I just paid so much less and that guy's staying in business. So what,
Yeah.
what the hell? I
Yep.
don't know. I think some of it has to do, and I don't know for sure, but I think some of it has to do with location, location, location. And if the truckers have to drive further to get to, their drop-offs and things like that, they probably charge more because of their gas and time.
I think it's more because the population here is a lot higher, so they know they can squeeze more out of it because more people need the gasoline so they can charge more and make more money. Because the
probably
difference
true.
between I'm like what an hour, just around an hour south of DC, and
Can you smell the politicians from there?
I try not to, but
Yeah.
and where I was in Tennessee, so yeah, big difference in
Mhm.
population. So I don't know, but I was
So
like, what in the
indirectly with
hell? It
your
was
indirectly
literally
with your
like
driving
80
story.
cents cheaper a gallon.
Mhm. Indirectly with your driving story, you just reminded me of something. So, do you want me to share a funny story about the Braille?
If it's not, if he's okay with it, sure.
No, no, it's a funny story, and we were going to talk about it more on Friday anyway. So
Okay.
Bobby on the way. So basically, he met me at the hotel. So I went, and like I said, I stayed at the Sheraton, which by the way is the only nice place in Hamilton. So now I get to the Hamilton slander portion of our program. So
Okay.
so the key is, like I said, I already explained it's Canadian Pittsburgh. So the bottom line is that the place has fallen on hard times. Let me tell you, when the steel industry fell off, like, oh man, it's rough out there. It's rough out on these streets. All right. Let me tell you. So, Sheridan, though, is a chain of hotels that are generally very nice. And this Sheridan is no exception. It is very nice, but it's still Hamiltonized. And the way I know that is that I checked in, room was beautiful. I got a nice little corner, room and everything. Very bougie. Eric would approve. Like he'd really
Oh,
appreciate it. Very nice. Very nice. Nice big screen TV. I was watching Sunday Night Baseball on there. I even watched Big Scott's live while I was watching some Sunday Night Baseball on the big TV. There you go, Big Scott. There's a plug for you. So I was listening to that while I was watching the big screen. Like I said, they had a nice little restaurant. They've got two restaurants on the second floor. One of them is a more formal restaurant, and the other one is kind of the bar/restaurant. It's called the Loft. It's open till 11 p.m., which on a Sunday is pretty reasonable. So I was able to get a bite to eat, have a drink. The bartender was very nice, and they put the game on and everything. Cool. All a good experience. But then you go over to the pantry downstairs beside the thing, and the pantry is where the hotel can make free money because they'll sell you water and everything else overpriced. Everything's overpriced. But they basically didn't never stocked it. Like there's nothing there. There was like a couple of bottles of water. They didn't even have my like Coke bottle. I was like, really? It's like so they had like a can of like Diet Pepsi and like a couple of bottle. I'm like, okay, this is free money, guys. Like you're throwing away free money by not stocking it. All you have to do is stock it. But as soon as you go out the door, I did a quick walk because I checked in and everything, and I go, let me take a quick walk around there, but just to get some steps in, get some air. I'm walking around, and I'm like, homeless guy, homeless guy, homeless guy, homeless guy staring at homeless guy. And then you're walking around, and there's a little thing called Jackson Square, which is indoors. And it's like, well, this looks like a post-apocalyptic movie. And then I'm walking around, and this is all within the area. And as soon as you finish, you walk in, and it's still attached to the hotel and everything. But I'm like, well, this is just a sad state of affairs from top to bottom. Yep, I remember Hamilton. This is the Hamilton I know. This is it. So Bobby meets me at the hotel, and he has the exact same observation. He goes, he's just looking around, going like, and Bobby's been in Hamilton, but he goes, yeah, it's still really crappy. I go, yeah, buddy, it's still Hamilton. I'm sorry, but and then he comes inside and like, but this is really nice, and I go, yeah, it's a complete contrast. As soon as you walk through the door, you're entering into another universe. So I check out. We're gonna go drive over to the card show. We got plenty of time. Like I said, I even acknowledged morning briefly to allow for this to occur. So I finish eating my breakfast. I meet with the bro. We get in the car. He's got Waze. I don't know. Do you know Waze, the app? Okay, so he sets up Waze in the app. And Bob is listening to it. And for whatever reason, Waze is mad at him as Waze has decided to stop talking to him. And because Waze isn't talking to him, Bobby missed like 5 exits. And we kept going around and around and around. And by the time we were done, I think we ended up on the Massachusetts Turnpike at one point. And then I think we ended up going down the west coast of the United States. And we ended up over there. We ended up over here. We went by the North Pole, waved at Santa. And then we finally got to the place we were supposed to go to. I was dying. It was so funny. I was dying of laughter. It was fantastic.
I never ever
Ever. 3
want to
hours.
hear him make fun of me again for showing up late to chop because
Eric, I was giving the Garrick, this is my gift to you. This is my gift to you.
ever.
The only reason why we're not driving around to go to this car show to this very day, and it was earlier today, the reason we're still not driving out there somewhere trying to get towards this car show is because I started reading the exits directly so that you could go off the. It's like it would pass it and then it would reorient and reset to get you back on there because there's a highway called the 403 and it wanted him to go to 403, but he kept going by the exit. It's like it wants you to go on the 403. Like it really does want you to go on the 403. And then if you keep turning, you're going to end up back at the 403. So just get on the 403. It's fantastic. Did I mention, Eric, that I was enjoying life because I had lots of carbs? I had lots of carbs. So I had all the energy and all the time.
This might be the greatest day of my life. I'm not sure.
Brandon, you appreciate that story, right? See, y'all don't doubt me. I promise. I said, do you mind if I give you a lovely story? I thought you would enjoy it.
He will never, ever be allowed to make fun of me again regarding
regarding directions. He'll make fun of you for everything else, but yes.
Yes. Regarding the chop situation with my phone lying to me and bringing me to the wrong place, I will never, ever, ever tolerate his mockery again.
Yes. Another matter. So you may have been saved from this particular line of mockery.
Yeah. Thanks to Waze being a shitty app.
Mm-hmm. And Waze denouncing him. It denounced the bro. It stopped talking to him.
Not screw.
I told Bobby, maybe you should apologize to Waze. Whatever you did wrong, like apologize.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Waze clears doesn't want to talk to you.
I'm a Google Maps kind of guy. That's what I use. Gets me.
I just thought it was great. I just enjoyed it. And like I said, I had my pancakes. I had my eggs and bacon and stuff. Like I was doing great.
I'm gonna sleep soundly this evening.
I figured I would share.
I may not even need to suck my thumb.
Wow.
Because I think this is going to comfort me enough.
Well, Eric, you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed your early Christmas gift. I hope you appreciate it.
This means a lot. Thank you.
See, Brandon, this one card show has given so many wonderful stories. You see how many wonderful stories I was able to extract out of merely one day of card show. Dude, that's pretty sweet.
And we didn't even get where was the videos leading up to this? I mean, we should have had the prep videos and the vlogging videos.
Wear comfortable shoes. Well, Brandon, the prep videos for this particular show would have taken on a very different connotation. It's not wear comfortable shoes. Is make sure your shoes are very carefully tied to your feet. Don't get robbed.
Yeah.
Don't go into that neighborhood at night. Not that one. No. Stay north of that one. No. Don't go there. Especially when the lights are out. Don't go there. Nobody hang around in that neighborhood.
Don't spook the homeless people. They jumpy.
Listen, they're chill when they're drinking their beer on the street that they shouldn't be drinking. It's about as chill as they get. That's usually about it. Not a great place.
No.
Not the best place. No. It's very Atlantic City that way. It has that. It has that in common with if you want to talk about a card show, it's got that in common with Atlantic City. If you hang around outside the convention center, you might not want to. Just throwing it out there.
Are there ladies of the evening?
If you wish to call them ladies, why not? Sure. That seems generous, but what the hell? I mean, I already gave you a gift. I'll give Hamilton a gift. We'll call them ladies. Why not? You see, Brandon, this show is the gift that keeps on giving.
I with all this extra information, I don't know if I have FOMO or whatever the opposite of FOMO is.
Well, the show. Listen, the hotel and the show were good. I have no complaint. As long as you avoid Waze, you can get from point A to point B. You're good, man. You're good. Just avoid Waze and stay off the streets in the evening. Like I said, the restaurant on the second floor, The gentleman there, I tipped him very well because he was very good. Great service. Got great service. No complaints. An excellent chocolate cake. They had lovely chocolate cake. I enjoyed it on Sunday. It was fantastic.
Was
I
it
ate very
ice
well,
cream
is what I'm
cake,
saying.
though?
It did have ice cream with it. It was not an ice cream cake. It had a cake. It was a cake that had ice cream.
Oh, they serve you the ice cream with the. Now that is high class. Yes,
It's a Sheridan branded. Like, it's a Sheridan branded. Like, listen, it was, dude. If I'm gonna do like a little mini vacation, it was legit. It was totally worth. Spend a little extra. Go get yourself to the nice hotel, and inside they treat you right. The inside of the hotel was lovely. Little Starbucks downstairs. I got my coffee. Perfect. It was good. As soon as you step outside, different conversation, different game. But inside, fantastic. Lovely. But yes. So I think we'll leave it at that. Unless there was anything else we wanted to touch on. I think we I got good mileage out of it. I gave Eric his Christmas gift early. There you go. On that wonderful turn of events. Avoid ways. Stay out
vote for Jabali.
There you go. Exactly. I will include a community post. So I will do a poll in the community post where you will have all three selections. Remember, justice for Troy Dan, show some respect, show some love. However, we will include all three options and you can select the one you want to choose. On Friday, we'll talk a little bit more. Obviously, the Burrell will be there, and he can talk about some of the stuff that he picked up because there was some cool stuff there. And then hopefully, if Josh is there, he can give some commentary from that. Eric's favorite person in the world, so there's always appreciation for that. And then we'll definitely add. It was a fun excursion. Looks like the next one's in September, so I think we can make it out to September. I think it'd be a good time, and I enjoyed myself for what it was. The only other thing I'll add real quick at the end. Again, in the spirit of it's Hamilton, of course it is. They've got the different train stations. I actually thought the way it was posted on the thing, I went and searched the app and everything, and I'm checking. And it's like, okay, it's called the Hamilton Go Center. That's the one I wanted to get to. Okay, cool. So I check it. I check the time. I check the schedule. Cool. All right, we got all the stops. We go to Hamilton Go Center. Okay, great. I get on the train. No problem. We're all good. Check-in is at 3 p.m., so my timing is almost perfect. I get there by a little past 3. Perfect. So I go there, and then they say, like, okay, and the last stop for this train is the West Harbor. West Harbor is another one that's also in the city, but it's not the Hamilton Go Center. That's not the one I was saying, like, you are not going to go. You were literally, you're going to stop at oh. So I ended up having to walk through Barton Street, which, if you know anything about Hamilton, is basically like the shady place, the place where, again, we'll be generous to say ladies. But other things as well. Lots of things. There are things there.
Is there a lot of ill repute happening there?
There's ill repute of all kinds.
Okay.
It's the ill repute, per capita capital of Canadian Pittsburgh. So now luckily it was like 3 p.m. So I'm just there, looking at me, looking all shady, and I'm just sitting there looking like, fuck off. So but in the evening, there's more of them than you. So you might not want to do that in the evening. During the day in broad daylight, you're probably okay. But then in the evening, go spend your time in your own space. Just throwing it out there. So I'm sitting there like, oh, you idiots. See, go to the one that I wanted to go to. So it was fine. It was fine.
When Canadian criminals rob you, did they say sorry?
No, Eric. They borrow American mannerisms.
Oh, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's really no difference, Eric. None. You would be there and you'd be like, I didn't notice any difference.
Politely.
No. Well, maybe if there is a difference, maybe they would like throw loonies at you, but they would do it out of meanness, not out of love, out of meanness.
I'll tell you, that's something I will never forget happening. I have actually been robbed. I was robbed at gunpoint, had a gun held to my neck.
Sure, okay.
That was an experience that I'll never forget. And I'll tell you, until it happens, you don't really know how you'll react. And I think the weirdest thing was when it happened, you realize your instincts kick in, because fear didn't hit me. I was like, and maybe it was the way the scenario happened, but I was pissed. And I wanted to fight, but I had a freaking gun to my neck, and there was 2 of them. And so in my brain the whole time, I was just having to say, just do what they say. And, you know, I just kept having to keep telling myself, just do what they say. But I was like pissed because I didn't expect it to happen. I actually said, "Are you effing kidding me?" When I realized what was going on, because at first I didn't even know what the hell was going on. So anyway, just a little tidbit there, because I have actually been robbed at gunpoint, and it was a weird situation.
This was during a tour of the White House he went on.
No, this was actually in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis has a White House? Well, that's awkward. Did you tell them they were confused that that's where the gun came in? Awkwardness. I'm just saying, like, awkward situation, man. Don't tell them they don't have a White House when they think they have one. Leave them be. All right, one more quick story, and then I promise that's it. Look, once I get going on the Hamilton thing, it's so much fun for me. Okay, legit, by the way, true story. So before I bought my condo, this is now 10 years ago. Before I bought my condo, I was looking at a couple different places. I ended up in the place I should have ended up because this works for me. It makes a lot of sense where I am and all good. And then my family's just down a couple blocks away, and it's good because then I can go over there, help them out with whatever. It's fine. But for fun, I was looking at different listings all over different parts because I wanted to stay on the GO train line. The reason why that's important is because when I go to Toronto and I want to go there, I can get a train straight up and down. So for me, it's north-south, and I can hop on and hop off, and it's more convenient to stay on that line. It's smart strategically for me. So great. But I was looking at it, and there were a bunch of postings in Hamilton. So since we're picking on Hamilton tonight, why not? We'll finish the story with Hamilton story. Okay, here's how you know the way Hamilton was. This is my favorite part about this whole deal. When it comes to Hamilton, is they had this listing for this house. And I looked at the pictures, and I go, all right, it's been completely renovated. Looks beautiful. Okay. And I'm saying, what's the catch? So we go there and we visit it and we check it out. And it's exactly the way the images show. Like everything is showing exactly the way they say. Like they had completely renovated the whole thing. It was brand new. It was like 2,500 square feet and everything. It was $160,000, which was a damn good price. And I'm like, for everything brand new, redone, all beautiful kitchen, everything is like it. If I lift it and drop it near Toronto, it's $1.5 million. Like it's an expensive place because everything's nicely done. Now, then we looked at the neighborhood that it was in, and I go, yeah, that's because you're going to have to install the machine gun turret in the 24-hour century to watch you and protect you from the neighbors. So it's like,
that's why they're giving it away.
That's why you could basically buy it for the change in your pocket. That is why. So I was like, all right, Hamilton. Many memories, Eric. Many memories. Mm-hmm.
Remind me not to go there when I visit.
You probably shouldn't. No, I probably wouldn't. They also have a sad football team that they spend a lot of time caring about that no one else does.
The Tigers.
It's a lot of sadness. The Ticats, yeah.
It
they were partially called
like
the Hamilton Tigers. Yeah, they were called so they were actually an amalgamation of the what is it? It's the Tigers, and it was the something Cats, and then they made them the Tie Cats.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
the Tie Cats.
The Tie Cats.
I've heard
it became the Tiger Cats, so they just put them together.
Yeah, I've heard of.
Are they like Beanie Babies?
Never the Tie Cats.
And listen, they might have had Beanie Babies at the time. They've been around for a while. Like that team has actually existed a long time. Some of the Canadian football teams have actually existed a very long time.
Yeah, like 100-something years.
Yeah, the Argonauts are actually the longest running professional football franchise in professional sports, period. Because they've actually been existing since the 1800s. And they've continuously existed. They just continue to exist. And it's the same franchise. It's not like they stopped randomly for 10 years and then restarted. No, it's the same franchise the whole time. Which is actually impressive if you think about it. It's actually pretty good. They've been able to run professionally that long. Regardless, even though the CFL didn't exist until the 50s, they still existed. They were the Toronto Argonauts back then, and now they're still the Toronto Argonauts. Good on you guys. Hey,
good
credit to you. Yep. But yes. All right. So that concludes our lovely discussion of a card show that was the thread through a whole episode. Plus, on top of it, little Hamilton slander at the end. Much love, Hamilton. Much love. So we got that going for us. So you can check out Eric Sanderson or on Instagram. You can send him your hey mail. Send him your brochures of Welcome to Hamilton come on down to Hamilton. Send it, Hamilton Tourist Bureau. If you want to send anything this way, send it to Sanderson or on Instagram. Got that for you. We can brand it over here. Bobbles and ball cards, purveyor of swag. We were even able to show some of the swag tonight on the picture. And known associate of 540 Flips. Maybe 540 Flips should start selling Bobbles and ball card swag. Be amazing.
I want to find that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We also got more videos coming up on the channel and live streams on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about other things. And this week we can talk with the Burrell, talk more about how he did at the show, and possibly find out some tips on using Waze. We can get some amazing tips. Like, wow, chef's kiss. Let me tell you, we can get some tips. Maybe it might be in the cards. I'm not promising it. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Also, keep your eyes open for the community post where we'll have the poll where you'll be able to select favorite kind of fun, silly card of the week. Some good choices this week. And then, of course, we'll kind of keep rolling on. We're into August now, so we continue forward a couple more months. And then before you know it, we'll be looking at Expo season. We're getting closer. A couple more weeks, we'll also be looking at the Fanatics Fest. So that'll be something maybe we'll get a chance to talk about in a couple of weeks. So we'll have some
what is Fanatics Fest? No one really knows.
Everyone knows but Eric. And listen, Eric, I promise if you use Waze to go to Fanatics Fest, you will find out the answers to everything you seek.
Okay.
Just make sure to use Waze. Not sponsored, but maybe they should be.
Yeah.
I might take that sponsorship now. It might be great.
Yeah.
Let's throw it out there. All right. That's it for us this time around. Episode 88 in the books. Check it out. Thank you to Brett Favre for watching over us as always. Catch you in the next one.